Once upon a time, in a grand and ancient kingdom, there ruled a king named Arthur. Now, Arthur wasn't a tyrant. He was a capable ruler, someone who understood how to govern, how to manage, and how to lead. But he was also human, and being human means being prone to mistakes, to selfishness, and sometimes to cowardice. One beautiful day, while seeking refuge from the heavy demands of the throne, Arthur was relaxing in the royal gardens. He wasn't acting like a king then, he was just a man. Suddenly, he heard something, a melody. It was a song, so clear, so pure, that it stopped him in his tracks. He sent his guards to find the source, and there, deep in the thicket, they found a young woman named Elara. She was gathering wood. She didn't have the finery of the court. She didn't have the status. But she had a radiance, a natural, grounded beauty that Arthur had never seen in his high-walled palace. He didn't just see her. He felt a connection. It was intense, it was sudden, and it was, in that moment, everything. But reality is a heavy thing. You see, a king has duties. He has a throne to protect, a kingdom to uphold, and rules that define his existence. When it was time for Arthur to leave, he couldn't just walk away without leaving a piece of his heart behind. He took his royal signet ring, the most powerful symbol of his authority, and pressed it into Elara's hand. He made a promise, a man's promise, a king's vow. He said, "If it's a girl, sell this ring and live in comfort. But if it's a boy, bring him to me with this ring. I will take responsibility. I will own my truth." Years passed. Elara gave birth to a son. She named him Leo. But life for Leo wasn't the life of a prince. It was hard. And as he grew up, kids being kids, they were cruel. They teased him. "Where is your father? Who are you?" Those questions didn't just bounce off. They cut deep into Leo's soul. I want to take a moment here to reflect. Just think about Elara, raising a son alone, facing society's judgment, holding onto that ring. The weight of that secret must have been unbearable. It takes an incredible amount of courage just to survive that, doesn't it? Finally, Elara decided enough was enough. She had to face the fire. She took Leo by the hand, the ring safely tucked away, and they began the journey to the palace. When they arrived, the gates were slammed shut. They were nobodies. They were strangers. The guards didn't want to let them in. Why would they? But Elara didn't back down. She waited. She fought. Eventually, she stood in the great hall. King Arthur was there, high on his throne, surrounded by advisors and courtiers, and there stood Elara and Leo. The truth was right there, in the open air. And this is where the story turns. Arthur looked down. He recognized her. He recognized his ring. He knew in his gut that Leo was his son. But then the fear kicked in. The fear of what people would think. The fear of losing his status. The ego, that destructive force in all of us, whispered in his ear. He looked at the crowd, then at Elara, and he did the unthinkable. He said, "That is not my ring. I do not know these people." He denied them. He chose his crown over his own flesh and blood. Isn't it terrifying how easy it is to lie when your reputation is on the line? Elara was left with nothing. The man she loved had betrayed her. Her son was branded a liar. She had one choice left, the ultimate gamble. She turned to the divine, to the forces of truth that exist beyond human laws. She held Leo up and made a vow. If this boy is truly the king's son, let him remain in the air. If he is not, let him fall to his death. And she threw him up. The room went silent. The air grew still. Leo didn't fall. He stayed there, suspended, held up by the undeniable force of the truth. The shock in the room must have been deafening. Arthur's face, I can only imagine it, must have crumbled. The mask of the king fell away, revealing the terrified, regretful man beneath. In the end, Arthur did the right thing. He acknowledged his son. He made Elara his queen. He made Leo the heir. But as I read this story, I keep thinking about the damage done. Yes, they got their happy ending, but the lesson here isn't about the fairy tale. It's about the struggle to be authentic. Arthur wasn't a monster. He was just like us, afraid of being exposed. But this story reminds us that truth is not something you can just wish away. It has a gravity of its own. It pulls things back to the surface. Being truly royal isn't about the crown on your head. It's about the strength to stand by your actions. When we make mistakes, and we all do, it's not the mistake that defines us. It's whether we have the courage to say, yes, this is mine. I take responsibility. Life is messy. We all hide parts of ourselves. But maybe, just maybe, we can all try to be a little bit more honest. Not for the sake of the crown, but for the sake of our own souls. Thank you for listening to this story with me today. It's been a pleasure. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What does truth mean to you? Until next time, take care and stay true to yourself.